Hi, so I thought it might be helpful to do a quick video just to remind you of how to do a literature review. So I've spoken to some of you, but not everybody yet. And I've introduced the idea of a literature review, which is what you need to be doing first. But hopefully this video, you can watch it a few times through to get a bit of help if you need to, as you're sort of forming and shaping your literature review. So the literature review is the first step of your dissertation, really. It's basically saying, finding out what has been already published on the topic of your dissertation, so that then you can show that you know the subject area, but also you will then research that and build on that as part of your actual research, whether that's a desktop study or you're doing online surveys or interviews or whatever, observation or whatever. Doesn't matter what your research is, your literature review will be the same for everybody, same approach. So whatever you've decided is your broad theme, you need to imagine that the title for your literature review is, everything that's already been published about gender and play, or, COVID impacts on children, or something like that. And that will be your broad sort of topic. You need to just research, get loads and loads of sources, reputable sources. Remember all the things we've told you about using the online library, Google Scholar, to find sources which are academically robust. If, depending what your topic is, for example, things like COVID, if that's your topic, or other sort of hot topics and so on, you may find you want to include newspaper articles and that kind of thing. You can include them as examples as part of your literature review, but the main substance should be academically robust sources found on the online library or Google Scholar. So what you need to do is to think about 3 or 4, 5 at the most, sort of sub areas of your literature review chapter. Overall, your literature review chapter will probably be about 2,500 to 3,000 words. So a substantial piece of work, and it's proving that you have looked into this topic and you know what you're talking about. So use it to kind of show off your knowledge. So think of these broad areas and use them as subtitles as part of the topic. And then underneath those areas, write sort of mini essays about those topics. Of course, remember you need to be evaluating, critically analysing these sources, not only describing them. That's what will get to you much better marks if you can do that. So I'll share now my screen. This is an example one. And you can see here, so they've got literature review. It is chapter 2, but we tend to work on it first. And there's an introduction. This person has done about gender. So they've done an introduction to the chapter just to sort of set the scene and so on. Even here, they've included some references. And I would say, absolutely use your level C and level I notes, your reading and all those things you've gathered as part of your courses so far. Drop in ideas like Lawrence Kohlberg and Bandura here, or Piaget, or Vygotsky, or Bronfenbrenner, or the Maria Montessori, or Macmillan Sisters. All these sorts of things, just drop them in. Even things like children's rights and the EYFS, drop them in to show that you know what you're talking about, and add the references for them too. So here we see they've got different subtitles. They've got supportive theories of gender development, and even within that they've got a few small subtitles, which is great. They've got the influence of parents as another subtitle, the influence of teachers, and the influence of the media, and then a conclusion to the chapter. So what they've done is, for each of those areas, they've basically said what has already been written about this. So let's take the influence of the media, for example. They've put a reference here, they've talked about it, and they're analysing it a little bit as well. Another reference here, and they've talked a bit about it, a bit like you would have done in your annotated bibliography in level I. They've talked about the research and what it's shown and so on. To be honest, I'd prefer a few more references added into that section there. They are trying to compare different ideas together. So they've got this eyes and 2010, and now they're connecting it in with Jennifer Pike here and Pike there. Again, I would like to see a few more references. I think generally speaking, in a half a page paragraph, it'd be good to see at least 3 references, but the more you can add in, the greater the quality of the piece of work. So further up here, you can see they've done that a bit more. We've got this reference here, Drudy, and this here. So they're basically talking about these themes. Just a point to note here, you only need to put the surname and the date. This writer here has put the first name. You don't need to do that, put the surname just and the date for the references. Of course, collect together all of the full reference information and keep that ready, because you'll do a reference list right at the end of your dissertation. In fact, I'll whiz down and show it to you now. If I scroll down, here we are, right at the end of the dissertation. We've got their reference list. It doesn't need numbers, actually. This is wrong, but it's in alphabetical order. So you can see here the full reference information. So make sure you've got your guide, your referencing guide to hand, and you can do that. So have a go at your literature review. I'd really like it if you could get this done by Christmas, really, if not before. And the reason for that is that there's lots of other things to be doing as the year goes by. And we find that if people leave this till later, then it all sort of it clogs up towards the end of the year, makes it really difficult for you, a lot more stress. So if you can really work on this in these first few weeks of term before you get too many essays and so on, then that will really help you in terms of managing your workload and your stress. So do make an appointment and speak to me on Zoom at the times that we've arranged. But get writing, just work on some of these sections. It doesn't need to be completely complete in the next month or so, but you know, as much as you can, have some kind of draft, bring it to me, either electronically on Zoom, or we can arrange a meeting in person. We can talk about that and see how we can continue to develop your literature review, because it's one of the most important parts of your dissertation, because everything else will connect back and refer back to your literature review. So really important that you spend time to get it really good quality and well written and so on. So all the best. Let me know if you have any questions, but otherwise happy researching and looking into your topic.